Hello, my name is Charlotte Robinson and I'm the LUMS Placement and Internship Manager at Lancaster University. In this session, I'm going to talk about why you should take a placement year as part of your degree at Lancaster. So what we're going to talk about is what is a placement, the recruitment process that you can expect to face during the placement application process, why you should take a placement or why you should at least consider taking a placement, and also the placement program here in the management school and what you can expect from that. So what is a placement year? Typically, it's around 12 months of paid work. At the management school, our expectation is that you'll complete a minimum of 10 months, but a typical placement is about 12 months in duration, sometimes slightly longer if you have a handover period with the incoming placement student. We would expect that you're working at about graduate level. So you're doing meaningful work, you're not making teas and coffees and you're not doing any of the filing, you're doing stuff that actually makes an impact within the business. For your placement year, you are charged 20% of whatever your normal tuition fee is. And you will typically be paid a salary for the placement year, and in the management school we only promote paid placement opportunities. The average salary for a placement year is between 18,500 to £22,000 a year. Obviously depending on location this may be greater than that. The typical salaries in London are obviously on the higher end, but more northern local based to Lancaster placements might be on that slightly lower end. So you can expect to be somewhere within that bracket if you do choose to take a placement year. If you are a student studying from outside of the UK and you are studying here on a student visa, this student visa does allow you to work in the UK full time during your placement year, but you will need to ensure that your visa covers the 4 year of your degree program. If you've come here on a 3-year degree without the intention of doing a placement year, but you do choose to transfer on, you will need to make sure that your visa is updated to cover you for the 4 years that you'll be here in the UK for your placement and degree program. For your placement year, you are allowed to work anywhere within the world. So you're not just limited to working in the UK for your placement year just because you're at a UK institution. Our students do travel in other countries, and as you can see from the blue countries highlighted on the map, these are the countries that our students have worked in the past. So if you would like to work outside of the UK, you are absolutely welcome to do so. However, we need to highlight that it must be safe for you to work in those countries, and you must have the necessary visas you must have the necessary right to work within that country. It's not something that we would be able to sort out for you. It's something that you would have to ensure you've got by yourself. We can support you through the process, but we can't arrange it for you. So the typical recruitment process, so this applies to placements, of course, but it also applies to summer internships, insight weeks, and also graduate jobs as well. So irrespective of whether or not you choose to do a placement as part of your degree, you are likely to face this recruitment process at other stages. So the first stage is to submit your application. So this might be a CV and a cover letter, or it might be that the company asks you to fill out an online application form. At this stage, they may also then ask you to undertake some form of testing. So this is typically psychometric tests, so numerical and verbal and/or logical reasoning. It could be personality testing. It could be situational judgment testing, where they give you some workplace scenarios and ask you to provide answers as to what you would do if you were in that situation. So the first stage is typically fill out some forms, upload your CV, and undertake some tests. From there, you may be then invited to do some form of interviewing. Now, typically you would face online interviews. So these are, you're given some questions and you have to submit a video response. It could be that you get invited to do a telephone interview with someone from the recruitment team, or it could be that you have a first stage interview with a recruiter within the company. But typically this first stage is more of a virtual process. You may then subsequently have face-to-face interviews, but that might be later down the line. Following that second stage of the recruitment process, you might be invited to an assessment centre. So this is usually half a day to a full day, depending on whether or not it's in person or virtual. An assessment centre is where a company gets you to do a variety of tasks, and these could be group tasks, individual tasks. It could be that they give you some interviews to do. It could be that you have networking opportunities with students or recent graduates in the company. But an assessment centre is essentially a variety of assessment methods, again, to build a clear picture of your competencies and abilities as to whether or not you would be good for the role and the right fit for the company. Assuming you pass the assessment centre, it's at that stage you would hopefully then receive an offer. If you choose to accept the offer, then that's when you would get, after that, you would get started. So as you can see, we've tried to give you an indication of how many students start with that initial application and work it down to how many actually start within the company. So assuming 100 students apply, it's potentially 5 students who receive an offer and 4 who actually start within the company. So it gives you an idea of how competitive the recruitment process is, and therefore employers expect to see excellent performance throughout each stage of the recruitment process. Why do a placement? Well, the key reason for the key motivation for a lot of students is that they want to help themselves to secure that graduate job. And a recent survey by the Institute of Student Employers found that 50% of former summer interns and placement students were recruited back into the company into a graduate job in 2022. So that that motivation is shared by employers too. Another key reason to do a placement is an opportunity for you to gain further experience in an area of interest. So if you have an idea already of an industry that you want to break into, let's take the example of accountancy. If you know you want to potentially become an accountant as you've graduated, a placement is a really good opportunity to get some insight into the field of accountancy. And a lot of accountancy companies nowadays are giving students the opportunity to do some of the early stages of the various accountancy qualifications during their placement year. So it can give you that head start on a qualification that you would have to do as a graduate, which means that you've got less time studying after you've completed your degree as well. So there's a further motivation there. It's an opportunity for you to extend your professional network. So you don't know who you're going to meet during your placement year, not just people that already work within the company, but other interns as well. You don't know whether or not those interns are going to be helpful to you in the future. So it's a really good way to meet a variety of people, but also to speak to those people that already work in that company and ask them, how did they get to the position that they're in at the moment? And you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what jobs exist out there. You don't know what people have done previously. You don't know what they're doing at the moment and how that might be applied to you and be interesting for you in the future. So really good opportunity to meet new people and hear about different roles that exist. It's also a placement is obviously a really good way for you to develop a variety of skills, and as you would be working in the company for 10 to 12 months, it's got that time and longevity to it. So you've really thoroughly developed those skills and put them to the test during the placement experience. So definitely a good opportunity to develop those skills. And finally, it's a really good opportunity to help you prepare for the graduate job hunt. So you've already gone through recruitment processes with companies. You know what a CV needs to look like. You know how to perform in an interview. You know what to expect from an assessment centre. So you've got that advantage over students who haven't gone through this process before. What does the placement programme look like in the management school? Well, in the first year, the reason that we do these transfer talks so early is because we need you to transfer on before the end of January so that we can get you onto the Management 150 preparation for placement module. This module takes you through each stage of the recruitment process that I spoke about earlier and gives you the opportunity to practice CV and cover letter writing, as you will have to submit a CV and cover letter for the assessment. And we also give you the opportunity to have a practice interview and assessment centre with a placement employer at the end of the module as well. So it's about a 20-minute interview, 15 minutes interview, 5 minutes of feedback, gives you that opportunity to feel the fear of what it's like to go through an interview process. And the assessment centres are usually about an hour in duration as well. There's no academic requirement to progress into the second year of the placement. So you don't need to achieve a 2-1 to be allowed to continue with the placement year. You just need to have done the Management 150 module in entirety. However, whilst we don't have any academic requirements, you may find that when you do come to apply for placements, employers have academic requirements. So be mindful of this when you are preparing for your first year exams. Whilst there's no university requirement, employers might expect to see a 2-1 or above when you're applying for placements, and obviously your first year scores are the only scores you've got to go off when you're making the applications in your second year. So just be mindful of it. While it doesn't apply now, it might make a difference later. In second year, when you are applying for placements, you will receive support from the placements team. We do appointments near enough every single day. There is an appointment with a member of the placements team. We also do drop-ins, which across the LUMS Career Service, which also take place Monday to Friday. We also create exclusive placement opportunities. So we work with employers to create placements that are only available to Lancaster University Management School students. When you're out on your placement, you will have to undertake what's called work-based learning or complete a dissertation, and you do receive academic supervision and input from the departments to support you through this. And when you're on placement, we the placements team maintain contact with you, and we do regular check-ins with you. At the beginning of the placement, we will offer a settling in call. So this is to check how the first few weeks of your placement have been. And then when you've been on placement for a minimum duration of 3 months, we'll be in touch to arrange a placement visit. This is usually done over Microsoft Teams. And again, it's just to check in with yourself and your line manager to see how the placement's progressing and offer any support on an ongoing basis as required. So if you are thinking that you want to do a placement as part of your degree, you'll need to contact your department to find out what their procedure is to transfer onto the year in industry, and you must complete this by the 31st of January 2025. You need to make sure you've got the Management 150 teaching in your calendar, and once you've transferred on, this should be timetabled for weeks 15 to 18. So once you know that transfer has happened, just check your academic timetable in weeks 15 to 18 to make sure the Management 150 teaching has gone in. But also in terms of what can you do now to help support your employability for placement year, you can attend careers events and workshops, and we've got these scheduled throughout the Lent and summer terms. There's also clubs and societies at Lancaster, particularly some career-related ones that might be interesting for you, as a lot of the career-related societies do bring employers or students who've worked in different companies to deliver panels or insights into their experiences. So do make use of those if you know that there's a particular sector that you're hoping to get into. We definitely advise you to build your confidence and build your CV through volunteering or work experience opportunities. And the university offers the employment and recruitment service, which is like a part-time job shop that's based on campus for on-campus recruitment opportunities. So the pool of competition for these roles is greatly reduced because you're only competing with each other. And I'd also invite you to consider the Lancaster Award as well. So this is an award that is recognised by employers, and essentially you build up points for the different activities that you've undertaken during your degree. So if you were to attend careers workshops, if you participate in any campus activities such as being a student ambassador or being involved in JCR, for example, any work experience that you undertake during your degree programme, so again, the placement year or part-time job, and any volunteering that you do alongside your degree as well, all builds up to collect points that you can count towards the Lancaster Award, and depending on the number of points you collect, you either get bronze, silver or gold. And as I mentioned earlier, it's recognised by employers, so really valuable and helps towards your helps you to articulate the experience that you've had during your degree programme. So thank you for listening. I hope it's been valuable to you. If you would like to transfer onto the placement year, then as I mentioned earlier, please do sign up following your departmental requirements. And if you would like to get in touch with me with any questions about the placement year, my email address is on the screen now, and I invite you to send me any emails. Otherwise, I hope to see you in Management 150 later this year. Thank you.